Hi, and welcome to our Highlander Help channel. Today we're going to talk about using Edpuzzle as an educator. So Edpuzzle, if you log in, this is the dashboard. Edpuzzle is great because it also links with our Google Classroom and our G Suite. So you're easily able to log in through your Gmail. So basically, Edpuzzle is a web-based interactive video and formative assessment tool that lets us educators take existing videos online and add content to target specific learning goals. So we can take a video from YouTube that we've been wanting to use, or even a film, and we can embed it with questions, multiple choice, short answer, open-ended, things of that nature, so that our students can interact with the video as it goes along, and we can begin to use that to assess their understanding, their knowledge, things of that nature. There's a lot of things on the website that we can already choose from. They have a lot of curricular content that's already given to us. So you can really take Edpuzzle and you can pretty much search for any type of content. For me, I obviously search for a lot of ELA work, so I'll be looking at things that I teach, like the Frankenstein. And here I can see tons and tons of videos from the Edpuzzle community that are already posted about Frankenstein. And it gives me a little bit of information just right off the bat. One, I can see how long my video is. And I can see next to it, these little bubbles, how many questions are embedded within the video. I can also see a title that whoever made the video titled it, and I can also see who the original creator is of this video, which is great if you like a certain creator or your students seem to be more engaged with one creator or the other. You can use them and kind of find more of their work. So we have a video and we can do a couple things with this in the classroom. First of all, I like to use this as a possible pre-teaching or flipped classroom kind of scenario where maybe we're going to start talking about Frankenstein. So I want to get them some notes about maybe Mary Shelley, or I'm trying to engage, or try to gauge their prior knowledge on, something like symbolism or really anything of that nature where it's more of a pre-teach or a flipped classroom type of scenario. They're really great for do nows if they're short. So that way you can have them log in real quickly on a do now on certain content and get it from there. A nice thing about this too is it's really great for scaffolding and supporting some of our students who are struggling because it gives them an opportunity to, it doesn't let them watch the whole video and then answer questions. So students who really need to look at comprehensive type of questions ahead of time or while they're reading, rather than waiting till they get through a 15-minute video and then answering questions about the video. Also, it's great in terms of if you see certain students struggling with a certain concept like symbolism, or how to annotate literature, or how to, multiply fractions, things of that nature, you can assign them these videos to really help practice those skills. The other thing I like about this is that you can create like slides or just share, use something like Screencastify and start to record a lesson, and then you can voice over your slides themselves. So you can also create your own videos if you can't really find something that's already created for you. I also like this because it's not just meant for our students in ELA. It's not just meant for students who are struggling at reading or who are, you need those extra supports. It's meant for any type of subject. So you can use this for vocabulary from ELA all the way to, a transition to employment course. You can use this for math. It's great for math centers in terms of you can record yourself teaching a concept and then have kids stop and practice to submit their own answers. You can use this, as a tool for students to create their own videos where they're teaching a specific topic to you and to their peers. So it's really great in terms of it can be used on all fronts, not just in ELA, not just in, certain content, which I like. And I can prove this by really just doing anything. I can search fractions, and now I'll see tons of fractions and lessons on that. I've used this for my transition to employment class, where I really just put transition to employment, And at this point, I'm getting a ton of videos about employment, right? Pre-employment transition services, a bunch of different things. So it really gives you tons and tons of options using videos that are high quality and very engaging. Things like YouTube, Khan Academy, Vimeo, TED Talks, just a real variety is really given to you. So besides the how can I use this or what is it, let's talk about how do we assign these videos. So we find something we want, right? And I'll just go into my content so I can show you. So we can find something like Notes on Frankenstein and Mary Shelley. I click on it, okay? And I have a couple of things I can do on this dashboard. First things first is I can see where the questions are lying. So if I feel like there's a big gap and I need to ask a question in between, I can include more questions, but I get a little bit of a view, and I can also view my questions this way as well. So you could just click on the little bubble and it'll load. Once it loads, you can see the question on the side, which is this is kind of really what that dashboard will look like for your students as well, where their multiple choice question will come up at the time that it needs to. And then I can hit skip and kind of go back and forth. I can see on the right-hand side, all my questions for this are multiple choice. So there are options for multiple choice and open-ended questions. The nice thing about your multiple choice questions is that they give them instant feedback. So it saves your grading time if you're using multiple choice questions, but also it gives our students some instant feedback so they know, maybe they struggled, or maybe they did really well and they can kind of move on to the next piece, things like that. So that's also a great feature that is given to us via Edpuzzle. If you scroll down, you can see other versions. So basically, you can edit the video, duplicate it, put it in your own content, and you can add questions and remove questions. But other people are doing that too, which is really cool because you can now see, as you can see, I have my own version, who is taking this video. And if there's more questions and things, what are other people doing with it? What are they finding that their students are, what learning objectives are their students focusing on? And you can really engage, and use other people's questions as well. And then there's also similar videos. So maybe that one video you looked at wasn't exactly what you're looking for. There are some other videos that are similar, which is awesome. All right, so say I want this video, I like it, I think I'm ready for it. I can do, I can start to assign. If I don't like it this way, I would hit edit assigned video. And now I can edit the name of it if I want, and I can go in question by question, and I can hit the little pencil, and I can start making some changes of multiple choice, the question itself. This is really great, especially if you have, your students who have IEPs and 504s, and they have certain modifications and accommodations. You might have to limit the amount of choices for a student during their assessment. So this is a great way to duplicate the assignment, which that was an option on the last page. Duplicate it and create another one where you can start to get rid of some of these choices for students. And then you can assign it specifically to certain students. So it gives you the option to really start to, to differentiate all your work as well. And you could do that by hitting duplicate, and then you could rename it, things of that nature. Then if you're ready to assign, you're going to hit assign. And I love this because it puts my students through Google Classroom, which I'll show you how to do. But for me, as you can see, I have an English, 10, 11, 12, 9, and transition to employment. And here is what I was talking about in terms of I can assign my assignment to all students, or I can assign to specific students, which is really nice as well. And then I can add a new class. So say I'm teaching a new course and I need to add it to add a new class. I can do that. Give the class name, subject, grade level, etc. And I can then connect it to Google Classroom. So everything is easily brought in. You can set, just like on Google Classroom where you set like things to go out at a certain time, I can set a certain date and time, and I can also set a due date. The one thing I really love about Edpuzzle here is that it has an option to prevent skipping. So sometimes our students in assignments or interactive things like this will just go question by question, finish it, and be done in a few minutes because maybe they're not taking it seriously, or the video is not as interactive or is as engaging, right? You can prevent that by hitting prevent skipping, meaning they have to watch the video and wait till the question pops up for them to advance to the next one. Okay, so let's say I assigned it. My students are currently working, right? I can see their progress on my end. So if I'm looking, you can see I have all my assignments. I can see certain assignments have been not turned in versus some have been turned in for whatever reason. And I can actually see in real time what that progress is looking like. So if I go to that Frankenstein assignment, you can see this was more of an enrichment assignment, so students didn't have to do it. But you can see when the start date was and how many people have turned it in. So let's go to an example where students have actively been working. Okay, so I have the Glass Castle, certain pages. I liked this because it was text. It was an audio book. It's great for certain students. If you click on it, you can see my settings. So I prevented skipping. You can do closed captions if you want. And now I can go and scroll in and I can see how my students are doing. With this, I like it because it gives you a couple of options. First being, I can see if they've watched it or not. And I get to see how far students have gotten into the video. And I also like, so it'll tell me how far they are. So for instance, the students at 28%, where other students are at 100%, it lets me know the last time they watched it. If they're in the middle of the video, it'll say like last watched 2 minutes ago. So I can see if they're stopping and walking away. I can see if they're actively working. And then it also gives me a timestamp of when they finished it. So if you are a teacher who has strict deadlines for things, that's also great because you can't have students argue when they submitted it because it shows us it here. The 3 little bubbles, also you can reset progress. So say a student kind of just flew through it, they weren't paying attention, and then they decide they want to actually redo the assignment, you can reset the progress and start them over again. I also like that there's an option and I can do that for all students. So maybe you're going to have them practicing the same problems over and over again for some reason. That has an option. You can also download the grades. So if you want a record of their grades, you can do that. But you can also do this option where it says go live. So if you want to go live, it's pretty nice because you can hit it, and then everyone in the classroom is working on it at the same time. So you would share your screen with your students using your projector, and then you tell your students to open Edpuzzle and go to their class, and that live assignment's automatically going to appear on their screens, and Edpuzzle will then track the progress and responses just like any other assignment. So the only difference is now it's being projected on the screen and then also on their screens. So that's also a great tool, especially when we have these hybrid classes where we're teaching in person and virtually. It gives you a little bit more, to do. We can then go to our grade book, and I like this because now I can see how my students are doing on certain assignments. I see all the assignments that I'm personally grading for each class. I can export my grade book, things of that nature. So it's really versatile, and you can kind of go from there. Lastly, I want to quickly talk about class members. So you have a couple of options. You can use this to invite students. So you can lock a classroom so nobody can get in with a code, or you can use a code to invite students. When you assign things, though, you actually have an option to take a link and send them the link, which is what I tend to do. I put the link on my Google Classroom, and I will show you how to do that. So if I hit assign, say I'm going to assign it to my English 11 students. I'm going to assign it to all students. I would hit assign, And now I can hit share assignment. And this gives me an option to just copy the link. So students don't even have to log into Edpuzzle. They could just click the link and then it gives them an option to sign in with their Google. And that is a great way to get students into the assignment quickly without having to put in codes and things of that nature. And that's kind of a quick run through of, using content on Edpuzzle to really engage students, to help build more skills or look and assess student prior knowledge, student skills as you go through a lesson. It's great as a do now. It's great as an exit slip. It's great just to kind of cover, on a snow day where you just want to look at a skill and have them really focus on it. Or if you're reading a chapter, you can assign a chapter to them and it's an audio where students will get all these different questions. So you can really assess their reading comprehension in that moment. So that's all. Those are some of just the few things you can do with it in general. Additionally, one last thing, Edpuzzle is currently being paid for by our district, but if it's not, it is, I believe, a paid service.